this is how it kind of started. Last night I was looking at going like, well, people who have the flu must be compromised.
Right.
So how many people are dying just from the flu? And I noticed, we can have this overlay right here, this is the CDC image, that flu deaths and pneumonia, they've gone down to effectively 0.
Oh, that's weird.
When I checked in at the CDC.
Historically, decades,
Yes.
no one's getting the flu this year?
Right.
Wow.
None.
Oh,
now,
weird.
here's the thing. I wanted
Very
to assume, as usual, that I'm wrong, but Reg, our researcher, is very smart. So I looked, I'm like, well, 0. I said, okay, well, maybe what's happening is just, well, no, that doesn't make sense because more people would be tested for the flu going in, right? If they're being tested for COVID, you would think more people are being tested, maybe because of the social distancing.
Can I pause you real quick?
Yeah.
More people are being tested for the flu because most people who are going in for COVID testing aren't actually getting tested for COVID because they're reserving the test for the people who are higher risk or showing severe symptoms, but they have enough flu tests, so all of those people are being tested for the flu. So yes, 100%, we are doing more flu tests.
Right. So the flu death rate is very low. We're testing for the flu. Well, okay, so you just cut me off at the pass because I was playing devil's advocate with myself, but my actual advocate.
Yes.
Okay, no flu deaths. That's weird. Same thing with pneumonia. I said maybe fewer people are getting tested. No, more people are getting tested. And keep in mind, too, also 7 to 15% of all flu deaths every year are some form of coronavirus. Not this novel coronavirus, but some form of coronavirus. That's why your Lysol and your mat cleaner says, hey, it kills coronavirus. We've had 17,000 deaths recorded from coronavirus. Okay? So what this is telling us right now is that all of those flu deaths, all of those pneumonia deaths, right? They're all being counted as coronavirus. So that's important to note.
Everything's kind of being lumped
Everything
together.
is being counted as coronavirus, even if they have these other conditions. And I thought, well, okay, that's not really fair because that's not the standard that we use in measuring deaths for anything else. For example, if someone has the flu and they also are undergoing chemo treatment, we count cancer as the leading cause of death. So right away, that's tipping the numbers a little bit, but then it gets worse. Here's what I went to the CDC website after I saw that chart. And when the flu death thing is weird, this is how they're counting deaths. A lot of people are saying, well, they're counting deaths, almost everything. They want to be liberal, as that's Hans Burks just said. This is from the CDC. Bring this up to you, cute Maddie. Your people will think I'm lying. In cases where a definite diagnosis of COVID-19 cannot be made, but it is suspected or likely, compelling within a reasonable degree of certainty, it is acceptable to report COVID-19 under death certificate as probable or presumed. In these instances, certifiers should use their best clinical judgment in determining if a COVID-19 infection was likely. So
that's very interesting.
Not only are they lumping,
can I sum that up?
Hold on a second.
Just guess.
What? Yes, just guess.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Not only are they lumping in, so all of a sudden, go look at the charts. Flu deaths, boom, nothing. Pneumonia deaths, boom, nothing now. All COVID deaths. Not only are they all being registered as COVID-19 deaths, but doctors can also, there you go, that was a chart from earlier, the flu's dropping down. But they can also make a guess that, well, we assume that person died from COVID-19. This is important for two reasons. Science is flawless. The scientific method is flawless. Human beings applying it are not. Do you not think for a second that some leftist activist who also happens to work in a hospital in New York is not going to take every single opportunity possible to try and label this a COVID-19 death if they are not required to actually show any proof of a positive test? Just think of what the media does with this.
Or even somebody who's
one
not
more
going
thing,
after that.
and then I want to go back. One more thing. This is what's crazy about it, because you go, how can these models be so wrong? And maybe someone out there can totally correct me on this. Everything I've said here is just taken directly from the CDC website. They don't apply this same standard to infection rates. So they cannot assume that someone has COVID-19 unless they test positive. And we now know, according to the CDC, 20-something% of people are asymptomatic. 80% of people have very mild symptoms. So we cannot say, oh, that person didn't test. We didn't run a test, but we're pretty sure they have COVID, because right now they're running all the flu tests, right? They are actually trying to eliminate possibilities. So they can guesstimate. I hate that word, but I'm using it because I want to piss people off. I get that it's redundant. Estimate is to make a guess. What's guesstimate? To make a shit. We get it. So if we are saying COVID-19 deaths, you can guess, but you cannot guess. You have to have proof of infection rate. What do you think that does to the mortality rate, not the overall deaths? Far fewer. They're saying deaths are being underreported. No. Infections are being underreported. For all we know, we could have 2, 3, 4, 10 times the amount of people right now out there with COVID-19. We cannot guess. We cannot estimate. But we can throw out numbers if we think within a reasonable, I guess, sort of barometer of suspicion that they could have had COVID-19. We list it as a COVID-19 death. So what can that do? That can take a mortality rate from 0.2%, 0.4%, to 3% or 5%. And it's important to note that's what the models were based on. That's what the 2.5 million came from. And then the 100,000 to 240,000. So you can talk about social distancing all you want, and that is true. You should be taking your precautions, wear your masks, which we said before they said you should wear masks. I said, I bet they're going to come out and say wear masks. Nostradamus here, apparently, a comic in a bathrobe, said, I bet you the CDC is going to change tack. But this is incredible that the models are based